Hi everyone, in this video I'll be talking about how can you craft a branding message for your advertising campaign so that it's so effective that your customers actually want to listen to you. Now, whatever I'll be discussing in this video itself was taken from the book StoryBrand. And this book was actually written by Donald Miller. The whole angle about this book is about effective storytelling to your consumers and your customers. And what is it that will make them actually listen to you above the noise? Now, the reason why you want to spend some time into learning about what creates the effective storytelling for your brand, all of us in the marketing industry are actually racing to get our products to the market. We are racing to tell consumers and customers why they should actually buy our brand, buy our goods or services compared to other competitors. Also, we are also racing to the market to be the ones to effectively start to shape the perception and shape the narrative in the consumer's mind as to why they should even care about product or service. And not only that, I think the most critical thing that we have to remember always is about, does our customer understand our message? And part of that also means is that, is our message simple, relevant, relatable? Does it meet their needs? And can our customer effectively say it? Now, this is something I always think about when previously I used to run ad recall video ads inside social media, and I realized that for customers to be able to record an ad effectively means that the customer must be able to at least sink their teeth into our video, watch it to completion, get one or two key points out of the video, and they must be able to resonate with them so they keep on repeating in their mind. So that, I believe, would be how effective storytelling is when it helps us to increase our ad recall when it comes to our customers. Now, part and parcel of the effective storytelling means is that we have to avoid two mistakes that brands commonly make. Now, one of the mistakes that brands make is that brands fail to focus on the aspects of the offer that will make people thrive, survive, and thrive. So, all great stories are actually about survival, either physical, emotional, relational, or spiritual. A brand story that doesn't cover any of this does not will not be able to actually hold an audience attention. This is the important distinction I've learned. Brand story is able to get us to position our products and services in the areas of helping people to survive, thrive, be accepted, find love, and achieve an aspirational identity or even bond with a tribe that will defend them physically and socially. If we are able to get our customers to link our brand messaging to any of these aspects, then I think we have succeeded because these are the things only people care about. If we go back to Maslow's hierarchy of the human pyramid, we notice that for anyone to care about something, usually we have to follow the pyramid sequence where is you satisfy your basic needs, for example, so shelter, food, protection, and then after that you move on to different needs such as safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. Hence, if we don't understand human psychology to like based on this Maslow pyramid, that would mean that sometimes we're actually trying to go past a certain stage in the pyramid itself without understanding that if the we don't meet people's needs through the hierarchy from bottom up, then it becomes harder for people to be able to listen to what we have to say because we have technically flouted Maslow's hierarchy principle. So another mistake I think the brands make is that they cause their customers to spend too much time trying to understand your offer. So for example, your ad is buy one free one. So normally in those kind of ads, you articulate what your offer is very clearly. You want to give in terms of even designing a visual itself for an ad. You want your customer to be able to look at the visual, understand what's the one thing they need to walk away with this visual from this visual and understand. So again, for example, let's say you have a buy one free one offer for a shoe brand, for example. You will make buy one free one the main key focus priority messaging in the visual itself, and the rest of the other information, the visual, you try to make it less cluttered. You try to actually highlight the product, for example shoes. You would try to keep the messaging on the visual as clean as possible, so when someone actually sees a static image, they're able to walk away and understand that the offer was buy one free one. Now, the similar concept actually applies to video, but I think video creation gets a bit tricky because you have only so much seconds to actually tell somebody something about your product or service, say a 15-second or even 30-second video or even a 1 minute video. And there are just sometimes too many things to actually tell people. And sometimes, I guess, as marketers, sometimes it gets very tricky trying to condense so many things you want to say in the video. And sometimes you feel like you are or at least I have done in the past, is that when I condense too many things, I'm hoping at least the customer will walk away with one point in the video itself, and without realizing that if the marketing collateral, the video or static image, is too cluttered, it has too many messaging points, then the consumer will just spend too much time trying to understand it. And half the time, being as a performance marketer in the digital ad industry, I realized that if consumers spend too much scrolling through the social media feed or even in reels or whatever, they just don't have any time to actually digest the offer, and then they'll just leave the advertisement thinking like, what did I just actually see? I don't get any outcome from actually viewing that particular ad. So I think it's something important to keep in mind, that avoiding these two mistakes, I think, will help us to enable our marketing message to be sharper, to be clearer, and for us to also respect the audience attention. I think end of the day, sometimes when it comes to creating a marketing video, sometimes we get in our heads about what is it that we want the customer to leave behind. And we think that by crafting a messaging that is highlighting a unique selling point compared to our competitors, our consumers or customers technically should be that interested to listen to it. But I don't think that's the case based on this book. I think it's about finding that humility as marketers to truly understand what are human beings obsessed about, going back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and understanding every message that we feed through, whether it be digital ads or non-digital ads, it has to meet consumers' deepest needs. And again, this is through the understanding of what matters to them. And perhaps this is why that when consumers feel they resonate with the ad is partly because the ad has actually played back to the principle of Maslow's hierarchy, understanding that consumers actually want to survive, they want to do well, they want to be accepted, they want to find love, they want to achieve a aspiration identity or bond with a tribe that will defend them physically and socially. So again, it's about understanding all these emotional and psychological needs that people have. So it goes beyond just selling them a product or service, and then calling it a day. I think it's about understanding what do people value, and how do we position our brand, goods or services to be something related to the things that they value. In a sense, we're offering them solutions, not just products or services, basically. So now we go back into the storytelling, and what is effective storytelling starts with a set of a formula. Now, usually when you watch a movie, right, you always look at the arc of a plot in a movie, and you always look and know to yourself, by the end of the movie, you kind of figured out, you know who the hero is, you know what the hero wants, you know who the hero has to defeat to get what they want, and the tragic thing that will happen if the hero doesn't win, and the good things that happen if they do win. So going back to an ad itself, a video ad, for example, if your consumer is not able to walk away from an ad and basically say all those things, technically they're not very clear on what you have to tell them. So there's some level of confusion there that has happened. And it becomes very unclear to the audience what do they have to do next, you know? If the audience are very clear in terms of our brand messaging storytelling, then they effectively know, at least, if I walk away this ad, I roughly know what this ad is about. And perhaps if it's memorable enough, perhaps they'll share with their friends and family. Maybe they will become, like, people that propagate your brand story. Or maybe they'll take an action after they watch your ad and say, like, because you have spoken to them and made them feel understood about, you understand what their needs are and how your product and services fits well into their needs. Therefore, they're willing to buy your goods or services, basically. I realized the hardest thing about marketing sometimes, from a person involved in perhaps planning videos or like crafting videos about highlighting the brands and goods and services, right, is that what we think we are saying to our customers and what our customers take away from our video are two separate things. And customers are actually making buying decisions not based on what we say, but what they hear from what we say. So that's a very different layer of complexity when it comes to it. Because I think end of the day, we tend to imagine that whatever we say, the messaging in the video tends to get across 100% to a customer's mind. But I think we had to also make room for the sense of when, for example, in a digital ad itself, if we're putting our brand storytelling videos in, say, a Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, we have to account for what state of mind our customers are in when they're scrolling through these social media platforms. What is it they're trying to sort of get information across or escape from the hustle and bustle of life? What state of mind are they when they're hearing these messages? Does our message get effectively to them, or does it feel like a very salesy kind of ad where they are like, they look at it and they don't even want to consume it because they already feel like you're going to set up a marketing pitch to them that they don't even care about, or they feel it's just like a money grab. Like, give us your money, we give you a product service, and then that's it. So part and parcel, I think about why consumers actually are opting out of ads. Anything that resembles an ad on social media sometimes is because it just sounds like noise. They don't care anymore about your ad, or anything that resembles an ad that doesn't tap into what they believe in or even care about just immediately gets dismissed because there's way too many brands out there advertising already, and I think that contributes to ad blindness in some case. If we go into what actually makes a brand effective in terms of storytelling, I will actually share with you an example from Apple commercial. Now, this is the example shared in the book itself that Apple actually grew larger only after Steve Jobs started filtering his messaging through the lens of storytelling. And this was after he actually worked with the genius storytelling factory that's Pixar. So when Steve Jobs came back to Apple after being surrounded by professional storytellers, he realized story was everything. Now, in 1983, the Apple launched their computer Lisa, the last project that Steve Jobs worked on before he was let go. And Steve Jobs actually released this computer Lisa with a 9-page ad in the New York Times spelling out the computer's technical features. It was 9 pages of geek talk nobody outside NASA was interested in. The computer bombed. Now, when Steve Jobs actually returned back to the company after running Pixar, Apple became customer centric, compelling and clear in their communications. Now, the first campaign it released actually went from 9 pages in New York Times to just 2 words on billboards all over America. Think different. Now, what did Apple do differently, and why was the advertising suddenly radically different after Steve Jobs went to work for Pixar? I think what they did well was because they stopped featuring computers as part of their advertising messaging. They understood that their customers are actually living, breathing heroes, and they tapped into customer stories. What Apple actually did different was that they started identifying what their customers wanted, which is to be seen and heard, and defining their customers' challenge that people didn't recognize their hidden genius, and offering each their customers tools that they can use to express themselves, computers and smartphones. Now, the story of Apple advertisements is not just about Apple. It's not about how cool their stuff is, it's actually about consumers. Consumers are the hero in the stories. In this Apple commercial, which I have over here,
You in my lane, you in my way. You cross that line, it ain't your day. I need my spot. Get out my way. 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 Get out my way.
we started noticing that Apple's advertising featured their consumers, the people that use their products, as the cool person, the person that everybody wants to be friends with or has a cool tech basically. And part of it, I believe, is the realization that people don't actually buy the best products. People buy the products that they can understand the fastest. And when Apple understood this key principle itself through the advertising campaign, they started inserting themselves into their customer story. So it becomes customer centric that customers are the hero in the advertising campaign. Customers, like the Apple product has become like their little sidekick, and customers essentially, for example, became Batman or became the superhero they always wanted to be. And the products that Apple offered was just like their little sidekick that assisted them basically. So this is another part of this effective storytelling is basically a character who wants something, who encounters a problem before they get it, and at the peak of their problem, a guide steps inside their lives and gives them a plan and calls them to action. So this action helps them to avoid failure and end in a success. Now, this is fundamentally the plot of what makes a good storytelling. And thinking about creating a video ad that follows this sort of trajectory helps a brand sort of clarify what makes a great video ad. Why should people listen to my video, and how do I get to my customers effectively with this video itself? For a brand to have effective storytelling, we as marketers should be able to understand three things. What does the hero want? Basically, the hero being our customers. Who or what is opposing the hero and getting what they want? And the third question is, what is the hero's life looking like if she or he does or does not get what he or she wants? And this is important to adopt when we're creating videos because I think there are many times we have to keep on going back to the fundamental aspects as who are we selling our product and services to? Why should our audience actually care? And end of the day, if our video ad is actually supposed to work, customers must be able to answer these three questions confidently if we expect them to actually buy our goods and services. So every time they look at within 5 seconds of looking at our website, within 5 seconds of looking at our marketing material, they must be able to answer this question. What does this brand offer? How will it make my life better? And why do I need to buy it? Now, these are really three great questions to actually think about and keep in mind when it comes to creating a great storytelling. I think sometimes the mistakes I think brands make is that we tend to cram too many things into our website. We tend to cram too many things to marketing collateral. And then it becomes very unclear to the audience. Actually, what is the priority of messaging? What do I need to pick up from this messaging? And I realized that when there's too many noise in the marketplace, consumers need to become hyper focused and pick out the one thing that stands out to them. And if that one thing is not being made clear in the marketing visuals, whether it be an ad visual, ad video, add static image or add video, for example, then it becomes just noise, just something for them to scroll over. And if they're not able to articulate what actually about this thing, product or service makes their life better, then it becomes very hard to. And the most important fact, why do they need to buy it? I think keeping these three questions in mind helps us to be much more help us to have the clarity when it comes to crafting a messaging, because I think it makes us more humble in the sense to realize that we are not entitled to customers' attention just because we threw money at the ad, or we feel our visuals are compelling, we feel our video ad is compelling. I think it goes back to understanding what does the customer want, that are we clear in we are helping them achieve their goals basically. And that has to be very crystal clear when it comes to messaging.